July being such a scorcher, could we expect this to continue into August, or could we expect major changes that could result in more severe weather and tropical storms? I'll be breaking that all down coming up in this video. Howdy y'all, welcome back. We're going to start off looking at the severe weather chances for the next 3 days, and it looks like the Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk, which spans from northeastern Colorado up into southwestern Nebraska and up here by North Dakota, which includes parts of northwestern Minnesota and a little sliver of Montana is included in that as well. Now, there is no tornado threat to speak of today, but there is a damaging wind threat, which is a 15% chance within both slight risk zones, and a large hail threat, which is just a 15% up here in North Dakota and parts of Minnesota and a little sliver of Montana. And as we head off into Hump Day, there is just a marginal risk that has been issued over here in parts of east central Minnesota down into the UP of Michigan. Now again, there is no tornado threat to speak of tomorrow, but there is a damaging wind and large hail threat, which is a 5% chance within the marginal risk zone tomorrow. As we head off into Thursday, there's another marginal risk that has been issued, which includes states from Wyoming and South Dakota down into Colorado and parts of Kansas. We also have a chance for severe weather on Saturday that we have to look out for, which is a 15% area, which includes parts of eastern Colorado up into Iowa. So now that we know the severe weather chances for the next 3 to 5 days, let's go and take a look at the time frames of when you could expect the worst and severe weather. We're going to take a look at the HRRR model. Keep in mind that dating time's up here if you want to keep track of this news time as well. As we zoom in and push this forward, it looks like by right around 6, 7, 8 o'clock is when some severe weather could be getting started. And it looks like a linear event's going to be getting started up here by North Dakota. The southern slight risk zones is going to be getting some severe showers and thunderstorms with embedded hail and damaging winds. Now keep in mind, the primary threat today is mainly going to be damaging winds, which we could expect as these storms start to roll in. Could expect upwards of a 20 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts down here in Colorado and up here in parts of North Dakota and Montana. We could expect upwards of around 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts with right around 20 to 40 mile an hour wind speeds in North Dakota, and down here in Colorado we could experience upwards of 20 to 30 mile an hour wind speeds as well. As we focus our attention back to the composite reflectivity, you can see that the northern slight risk zone looks like the linear event's going to turn into more of a general thunderstorm threat with embedded hail and damaging winds in that as well, just like the southern slight risk zone, and it looks like it's going to die off as we head into the overnight hours tonight into Hump Day. As we push off into Hump Day, we can see that there's a marginal risk for severe weather in parts of Minnesota down into the UP and Michigan. Now there is just a low-end chance for damaging winds and large hail. Still a chance nonetheless. Just make sure you tie down anything you do not want blowing around and protect anything you don't want damage from hail. And it looks like we could experience some severe weather tomorrow right around 2 o'clock through right around 5 o'clock. We could be dealing with even some more severe weather through the overnight hours into Thursday. Other than severe weather tomorrow, there's also a flash flooding threat, as there is a moderate risk that has been issued for parts of Missouri for upwards of 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. So again, if you live in a low-lying area, please be aware of that. If you're out on the roads, turn around and do not drown. As we focus on Thursday's severe weather threats, we have a little marginal risk over here spanning from Wyoming down into Kansas. And to take a look at that, we'll take a look at the NAM 12 kilometer model. This is a low resolution NAM. We'll take a look at the lightning flash density rates here in a little bit. It looks like on the 3rd, looks like we could experience some severe weather right around 8 o'clock through right around midnight or so. Now keep in mind this is pretty far out, and this is a low resolution model, so anything can and will change by Thursday. And to take a look at Saturday starts, we're going to take a look at the lightning flash density rate as well. As we can see on the lightning flash density rate, we can tell on Thursday where the most intense severe weather could occur. It looks like right around 4 o'clock we could experience some pretty intense severe weather over here eastern Colorado. And it looks like it's going to last all the way through right around 8 o'clock before it's to die off a little bit. And it looks like on Saturday we could experience some pretty intense severe showers and thunderstorms right around 5 o'clock over by Kansas. This is going to last all the way through right around 8 o'clock. Now keep in mind this is pretty far out, and I will have updates on my little Twitter page. I'll post a link to that in the description below. So make sure y'all are weather aware on Thursday and on Saturday, as these could be upgraded to a slight risk or enhanced risk. But again, I will keep y'all updated if anything does change. So So now that we know the time frames for the severe weather for the next 3 to 5 days, let's going to take a look at what kind of tropical storms we have forming out there in the Pacific and in the Atlantic. As we look at the tropics, we do have some tropical storm development out in the Atlantic and in the Pacific, as we do have a 50% chance for the next 7 days here in the Atlantic. Y'all can take a look at the wording here. This ain't really going to affect the homeland any, as it looks like it's going to be doing that little recurve pattern that we were talking about earlier in the year. If y'all haven't saw my hurricane forecast video, we'll also have a link to that in the description below. Go check that out. I do talk about what the recurve pattern is. Basically, it's what makes these hurricanes turn out into the Atlantic. We could expect more of that this year as well. As we take a look at the models here, this is going to be Invest 96L. We can see the track of it here. It looks like it's just going to form and turn out into the Atlantic, not affecting the homeland any, so not much to worry about there. But we do have a tropical storm out here in the Pacific called Tropical Storm Dora. Well, Dora the Explorer. Hopefully Swiper's not going to be swiping, but it looks like Dora is going to be intensifying as we head into Thursday. By 2 o'clock, it's going to be a Category 2 hurricane by then, before it starts to weaken down into a Category 1 as it turns out close to Hawaii. It's going to be about 1,400 miles away from Hawaii, so it don't look like it's going to be affecting Hawaii any, but still, looks like we have our first hurricane that has formed out there other than what we've seen over here in parts of Asia. So we do have a little tropical storm called Kanun. It looks like that's going to turn into a typhoon, just churning out there south of the Naha Island. Well, it looks like it's starting to heat up out in the tropics, starting to get some tropical storm activity out there. So, again, if you don't know your action plans just yet, make sure you dust those off. If you live in hurricane zones, if you haven't watched my hurricane forecast video yet, make sure you watch that. I'll link that in the description below. Go check that out. So now let's go and take a look at what we could expect as we head into the middle of August. And to determine what we could expect as we head into the middle of August, we're going to take a look at the 500 barrel bar height anomalies first, where the reds represent the good weather and the ridging patterns, and the blues represent the troughing patterns and sort of the bad weather. We know we've been pretty hot this past week with some 100-degree temperatures for the southwest part of the country. Now that is pretty normal for this time of year. It looks like this ridging pattern is going to be taking effect for much of the country for quite a while, with a troughing pattern from the northeastern part of the country and a little bit of the western part of the country. But as we head towards the middle of the month, it looks like this troughing pattern is going to take over, and it looks like we could expect some cooler temperatures. But to determine that, we're going to take a look at the temperature anomalies to verify this. And the reds represent the above average temperatures and the blues represent the below average temperatures. As we push this forward, it looks like below average temperatures are expected for the northeastern part of the country and the western part of the country through August 3rd. It looks like above average temperatures are expected for the central part of the country and a little bit of the eastern part of the country. As we head into the middle of the month, like we could expect some cooler temperatures. And according to the Climate Prediction Center, as far as temperatures go for the next 6 to 10 days, it looks like much of the central part of the country and the northeast part of the country is going to be below average, while the rest of the country is going to be above average or near normal. As far as 8 to 14 day outlook goes, as far as temperatures, it looks like it's going to remain about the same, except for much of the western part of the country and the northeast part of the country is going to be near normal, while the central part of the country and the southern part is going to be above and below average. As far as precipitation goes, it looks like much of the country is going to be above average, while the southwestern part of the country is going to be below average. As the next 8 to 14 day outlook goes, it looks just about the same. So let's go and take a look at the simulated radar lastly to determine whether or not we will have any more interesting storms occurring in our near future. We know we got the severe weather happening for the next 3 to 5 days, including some flooding down by Missouri. It looks like the pattern is going to continue for a little while with some soggy weather for the eastern and northeast part of the country and the central part of the country by Friday. And it looks like by Saturday we have a little low pressure system forming over here in the north central part of the country, and that's what's fueling some severe weather on Saturday down here from Colorado over into Iowa. Now we'll keep an eye on that, see if anything does change, and we'll keep you updated on my little Twitter page. It looks like it's going to push eastward and bring some severe weather possibly to Minnesota and Wisconsin by Sunday, before it brings some soggy weather to the northeastern part of the country and some potential severe weather for Oklahoma and Texas by the 9th. So it looks like major changes are expected as we head into the middle of August, with a major cool down expected. So that's a good relief for y'all. It looks like we have a couple tropical storms forming, one in the Atlantic. It looks like it's not going to affect the homeland any, and one down there in the Pacific, which is going to turn into a hurricane. It's going to be called Hurricane Dora. Looks like that's going to be intensifying to a Category 2 as it heads 1,400 miles southeast of Hawaii. So it looks like none of those tropical storms are going to affect anybody. And if you live within the risk areas for the next 3 to 5 days, please be weather aware and know that in the next couple days that the main risks are mainly going to be large hail and damaging winds. So make sure you tie down anything you do not want blown around, and make sure you put anything up you don't want damaged from hail. If you live within the moderate risk for flooding on Wednesday down by Missouri, please be aware of that. And if you're out there driving around and you see a flooded roadway, turn around and do not drown. So if you like the video, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe down below. Feedback is always appreciated. Appreciate y'all for watching. And until next time, never stop forecasting.